Habits sneak into our lives almost every day. It just dawns on us one fine day that we've adopted a new habit subconsciously. What isn't understandable is how habits are formed in the first place. Think about it for a moment. You will find yourself asking questions about conscious thinking, young age habits, good habits, bad habits. First, let us ask you a question. Were we all tricked into brushing our teeth by a brilliant advertiser who believed in the power of habits? Stay with us a little longer to find out the answers. This video is brought to you by Answerly, a questions and answers platform that pays you for adding high-quality answers to different questions. The users are rewarded in Answerly tokens, which they can easily convert into dollars or any other cryptocurrency by using one of the exchanges mentioned in the description. We all have habits. Some we are proud of, others maybe not so much. Some of the instances include ruffling your hair while watching a match, biting your nails when you're anxious, paying your bills in advance, etc. Do you share every Answerly video with your friends? That's another habit, and if we may add, an excellent one. Habits are activities that we perform automatically and subconsciously. Come to think of it, you have more habits than you think you might have. Playing video games, reading books, brushing your teeth daily are such activities that we don't even take as habits. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but habits, they are. How do we fall into a habit? First, we need to understand what triggers the formation of a new pattern in our routine. What we do repeatedly gets engraved in our brains. For example, if you have been taking the same bus to your workplace for the last 10 years, the chances are high that you subconsciously walk to the bus station without even checking schedules or routes that lead to it. Habit formation works similarly as well. Repetition of a particular behavior leads to the formation of new neural pathways or circuits. A neural pathway is a population of neurons interconnected by synapses to carry out a very specific function when activated. When a brain circuit fires more, our brain doesn't have to go through the process of conscious thought every time. Let's recall the first time you drove a car. You were probably very conscious of every move you made, changing gears, maintaining that delicate balance between race and brake, honking the horn at the right time. It just felt as if terrible things would happen if you didn't think consciously about all the acts of driving. In reality, it was all happening in your prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is a part of the brain located at the front of the frontal lobe. It plays a crucial role in a variety of complex behaviors, including planning. How about now? Now that you're an expert driver who has experienced driving, likely thousands of kilometers, you're not as anxious as you used to be. Driving is a part of your life, where your brain no longer feels the need to think consciously about acts of driving. In fact, different parts of your brain now control how you drive your car. How habitual behaviors spare our brain from the burden of conscious thinking all the time is quite an intriguing phenomenon. The striatum, the largest structure in basal ganglia, is one of the major players involved in habitual behaviors. This region of the brain actively releases chemicals that exhibit complex thinking for a particular task. This phenomenon is a classic example of brain efficiency. Once your brain is free from the acts of driving consciously, it can initiate the thinking process of more pressing issues. For example, how did The Simpsons make so many accurate predictions spookily? Or, what would happen if gravity didn't exist? Did Game of Thrones deserve a better ending? So on and so forth. Habits can be life-changing, and it couldn't have been more accurate in the case of Claude C. Hopkins. Claude had the habit of making people believe they needed what he sold. Claude, who is one of the pioneers in advertising, has immaculate marketing approaches that have become the content of modern-day textbooks. He made $185,000 per year, and the year we're talking about here is 1907. His direct marketing approach yielded results almost every time. Claude built his advertising strategy around the power of habits. His understanding of elements of a habit helped him virtually slip the world into a new habit. The habit was using toothpaste, a not so popular concept in the 20th century. The three critical ingredients of a habit are a cue, a trigger, and a reward. And Claude figured out all of them brilliantly. His cue was the bacterial flora that inhabited our oral cavity. Claude made people realize that these bacteria could quickly form a slimy film on their teeth. Germs on our teeth will form a layer of plaque on our pearly white teeth. Will we ever be able to smile in public again? This depressing thought was the trigger. As for the reward, Claude brilliantly convinced masses that bacteria would never tarnish their smiles if they brushed their teeth daily with toothpaste. And that's how almost half of the American population switched to Pepsodent. Yep, just like that. But there was something that even the great Claude C. Hopkins didn't consider in his brilliant scheme. That is the power of craving. The appropriate definition of craving is still unclear. However, craving is inherently a subjective experience, best described as a state of desire or want. Craving comes naturally with a rewarding behavior, kind of an essential item in this delivery package. Specific reward neurons fire in our brain and release certain chemicals in reward. It is how our brain usually works. Nothing to worry about. What is not normal is that once habitual behavior and rewards are linked in our nervous system, the rewarding neurons can start firing even before performing the behavioral act. That is what is happening in your mind when you crave for something. For instance, you would always feel the need to buy popcorn, even if you don't intend to watch the movie. But your kid is less likely to pay attention to this neurological phenomenon, skip the lecture, and just buy him the corn pops. Coming back to the Pepsodent, Claude failed to weigh the possibility when his customers might start craving the minty tangle of Pepsodent subconsciously. Safe to say Claude was the luckiest guy in the world, because once that craving started building up, people around America began craving toothbrushing. And that is how we were tricked into brushing our teeth by an excellent marketer. This story brings us to our next question. Can we change our habits that are impacting our lives negatively? You know, there might be some hope for all of us. It is believed that our brain stops undergoing developmental changes once we reach adulthood. Recently, this was taken a hit where credible scientific evidence suggests that the chemistry of our brain is constantly changing. The change occurred by the different ways in which we respond to daily life situations. You might have said no to a cigarette in your life, but once you taste the smoke and have it again the next day, a pattern develops. A short-lived chemical change might transform the actual structure of your brain, thus creating a new neural pathway, circuitry for a new habit. Getting rid of bad habits is not an easy task. Erasing them is almost impossible, since you have created a new pathway in your brain yourself. Your best shot is to substitute the destructive pattern with a constructive one. Sucking on a piece of tart rather than a cigarette is easier said than done, though. It will take time, but you must believe in the power of habits, just like Claude C. Hopkins did. This video is brought to you by Answerly, a stellar blockchain Q&A platform that pays you to learn. If you loved what you just watched, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to this channel. To learn more about Answerly and Answerly tokens, check out the links in the description.